All right, it is Thursday, and I am here with Cha-Cha and Anna Navarro behind the table. Hello, guys.
Say hello, Cha-Cha. Woof, woof.
We were just discussing how Cha-Cha is really loves Whoopi Goldberg more than anyone else at The View.
Well, Whoopi wasn't here, yesterday, Wednesday, and Cha-Cha went in front of Whoopi's dressing room.
Her empty dressing room and stared.
And stared for hours. She was standing there waiting for Whoopi.
I came in the other day, and I guess it was Monday, and Whoopi was alone in a chair facing Cha-Cha across her dressing room, like Cha-Cha was briefing her for the hot topics in the morning. I actually have a picture of this. I'll send it to you.
She has her own chair in Whoopi's dressing room. When Whoopi's getting briefed by everybody, there's a chair for Cha-Cha.
Yes, and I believe it's because Whoopi feeds her fine cheeses from Italy. I think that's
there may be something about that, but also there's something about her and Whoopi. I mean, they have a special bond. Like she, for example, has no affection or interest in you.
No.
Or anybody else.
No, as I've said, why should she be any different than everybody else who works here? But it's fine. None of you care about me.
Oh, take out the little violin.
Yes.
Pobrecito, Brian.
Speaking of Cha-Cha, we had the Disney upfronts this week. So for people who don't know, that's when networks meet in front of advertisers and show all the big shows that are coming out and all the exciting things. And it's kind of a fun party, too.
I didn't know what the upfronts were until I was on TV.
Yeah, no, I don't see why you would,
Right.
but they make a lot of news, and it's where advertisers see what's coming out and like, ooh, big Disney Plus show, I want to buy advertising for that, or ABC, I want to buy advertising for that. But Cha-Cha went to the upfronts. That's pretty good. What has Cha-Cha not been to? Has she been to the White House?
No, I never took her to the White House, and the reason I didn't take her to the White House was because remember, Joe Biden had those crazy dogs.
Oh,
that were
right.
biting.
Yeah,
They were
Commander. Yeah.
Commander and Major or something like that. They were big German shepherds that
Yes.
were biting the Secret Service. And so I thought to myself, my God, if these dogs see Cha-Cha approaching Joe Biden, they're going to think she's,
Yeah, that's not good.
They're going to, and they could swallow her like a croqueta. So
Yes.
I was like, Cha-Cha, you are not going to the White House. They asked for me to take her a few times.
Right.
But no. And then the Bidens got a cat.
Yeah.
And Cha-Cha hates cats with a passion that I reserve for authoritarians. And so I had all these like horrible images in my head of Cha-Cha getting the scent of a whiff or a view of Willow and chasing her through the china room. And then, there being all of this broken Abraham Lincoln china on the floor because Cha-Cha would not care. Yeah, she hates cats. She will chase a cat anywhere she sees it.
Well, she would have. I'm glad she got to the upfronts. I enjoyed the upfronts because there's all these like stars around, and we see a lot of big stars at The View. But for me, if you run into somebody in the wild, it's a lot more fun.
I'm sorry, but the upfronts are not exactly the wild.
Well, for me, they're the wild. I'm in a cocktail room, and it's like Anakin Skywalker from Star Wars is there. I know you don't know who that is, but there's like Glenn Close is walking around, Ashton Kutcher is walking around. It was pretty cool. And then we went to that party, and you and I were there, and I found you in the corner with Anthony Ramos.
Yeah.
That was exciting because I came over and Anthony Ramos and I talked about his new role on a Marvel series.
I had no idea he was.
And you
on
had
it.
no idea that what Marvel was or what he was acting in or anything else.
But I know he was in The Heights, and I
Yes.
love him. I love him for everything he's
Hamilton.
done, and I'm so proud of him. I support him on all of this stuff. But I Marvel right over my head. But you were like a little boy in a candy store.
Yeah, anything I can talk
But
to. Yeah,
back to Cha-Cha.
of course.
So I'm walking the red carpet with Cha-Cha. And first of all, I mean, this dog is so unfazed by light bulbs, by noise, by commotion, by people. She's just completely unfazed. She doesn't get nervous. She doesn't bark. She doesn't tremble, nothing. But I'm walking the red carpet, and every paparazzi photographer, every industry photographer that was there knew her name.
Yeah.
So they were all
Cha-Cha,
calling
Cha-Cha.
Cha-Cha, Cha-Cha.
Yeah.
You know how like when you walk
Hello.
down the red carpet and the celebrities go and
Yeah.
you hear them go, Demi,
Yeah.
look here. No, Cha-Cha.
That's good.
Cha-Cha. Cha-Cha.
She's a star.
I want a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame for you, Cha-Cha.
We'll see what we can do. All right, let's jump into some topics for this week. The biggest news story has been the Trump administration being poised to accept the palace in the sky from Qatar. That will become Air Force One. It seems like this is actually going to happen. Many have come out opposing it. Many in the Republican Party, many MAGA people have said, what are we doing here? This is not a good idea. It's like the most unifying thing that's ever happened. What did you make of this?
Well, first of all, the most unifying thing that's ever happened in the last 3 months is a very low bar.
Fair.
Right? It has been a few Republicans that have spoken out, people like Rand Paul, people like Josh Hawley, even the senator from Florida, Rick Scott, who has been a rubber stamp to Trump on everything. Yeah, when Laura Loomer is all, and Ben Shapiro are the voices of reason on something.
Yeah.
You gotta go look in the mirror and go, okay, am I okay? Listen, first, I don't know that I agree with you that it's the biggest scandal this week. I think there's plenty of things that have happened this week that are outrageous, scandalous, and hypocritical. But let's start with
Let's start with that one.
Yeah. It's incomprehensible. This is one of those headlines that when I first read it, I thought, oh, this has got to be a joke. This has got to be inaccurate. This is not inaccurate.
The Onion or something.
Reporting. Yeah. Because you are taking, it's not only that you're taking a $400 gift, right? $400 million gift, which then, but you're taking it from Qatar, which is a state sponsor of terrorism that Donald Trump himself was condemning just a few years ago. And not only are you taking the $400 million jet from Qatar, but you are also then saying that when you leave, you're going to take it with you. Through some loophole and that you plan to use it, despite the fact that it's going to take God knows how much. They haven't said the number yet to retrofit this plane in case that our now new best friends, the Qataris, have filled it up with bugs and surveillance devices. So, I mean, the entire thing is insane that the United States of America, the leader of the free world, would be accepting an Air Force One, which is such a symbol of America, from the Qataris, and that then is going to take that plane with him, and that he's already toured it and called it the palace in the sky. And and let's just put this in context, though, because this is the part that drives me crazy. It's the freaking hypocrisy and inconsistency and cowardliness of the Republicans. These are the same folks who dragged Hunter Biden into committee hearings and oversight hearings and dragged him through the coals over his role on Burisma, that he had a board seat in this Burisma and that nobody knew why he had that seat other than being Joe Biden's son. That, to me, was legitimate. But the same people who had a cow over Hunter Biden's board seat on Burisma seem to have no issue at all with Donald Trump accepting a $400 million gift from Qatar, with the crypto scam he is running, where he is making millions and millions and millions of dollars off an industry that he regulates. And then, the deals that Trump organization is making in the Middle East and making all over the world, profiteering off of the presidency. The $2 billion. Why have we never found out about the $2 billion that the Saudis invested in Jared Kushner's venture while he was overseeing the Middle East as part of his portfolio in the first administration? So what I'm saying is there's an emoluments clause. And there should be, very strict laws against corruption and against conflicts of interest.
Well, there are.
Particularly from the presidency. Yes. Yeah. But again and again, we see with this administration, those laws, the constitutional articles, the laws, the judicial orders, they mean nothing if the other branches of government do not demand that they be respected. So if there's no oversight from Congress, it doesn't matter. And the Republicans are the ones that are in charge right now of both houses. We will not have oversight of Trump until and unless Democrats win the House and or Senate. That is the only chance. And it can't happen soon enough, but its best chances for it to happen in a year and a half.
The other thing we talked about today, the Trump administration's move to prioritize the resettlement of white South African refugees in the United States. It's brought quite a bit of criticism. I'm sure I know how you feel about this, but tell me your thoughts.
It is so damn racist and they are not even pretending not to be racist. They're not even making an effort to hide the blatant racism. So, okay. Listen, refugee resettlement. Refugee resettlement is something that we have been doing for decades and decades in this country. There are organizations that have been part of our government agencies that are dedicated to that. There is, and Donald Trump has defunded them and banned refugees. He's basically banned refugees from everywhere except white Afrikaners from South Africa. So let's take it step by step. He says he is allowing these white Afrikaners to come into the United States. He sent a U.S. paid plane, by the way, to South Africa to pick them up. And they are getting fast-tracked and offered a path to citizenship. And he said he's doing this because there is a genocide going on in South Africa. There is no genocide going on in South Africa. Is there crime? Yes, there is. Is there violence? Yes, there is. Have farmers been killed? Yes. White and black farmers have been killed. But there is no targeted genocide of white Afrikaners by the South African government going on. I would just say to yourself, ask yourself, if there was a genocide against white people in South Africa, you think a bunch of white people from America and Europe would be paying tens of thousands of dollars to go to South Africa to see zebras and elephants? I've been on safari a couple of times. I've been to South Africa several times. It is an amazing country. It pains me that we may be causing them reputational damage when it comes to their tourism industry because they are a country that has gone through so much. But let me tell you, when I look around in those safari jeeps, and they're expensive, Brian, going on safari ain't cheap. But when I look around in those safari jeeps, I see a bunch of rich white people. I'm the brownest person there, other than the South Africans, the native South Africans working there. So, no, there is no genocide, number one. Number two, this is happening at a time when actual refugees who are fleeing legitimate genocides, like what is happening in the Congo, are being denied entry into the United States. There's actually a lawsuit, Pacito, P-A-C-I-T-O. I urge our listeners to go look it up, where Pacito is the lead plaintiff representing 12,000 refugees who have been waiting 2 and 3 years in refugee camps, who lost everything they had in their homelands, who have been now fully processed and fully vetted and had bought their plane tickets to come to the U.S. when Donald Trump issued the ban. You know what the difference between those refugees and the South Afrikaners are? That number one, they're fleeing legitimate political persecution. And number two, they're either black or brown. And so at the same time that we are seeing refugees from Venezuela and Cuba and Nicaragua, where there are cruel dictatorships, where there are dictators who disappear, who torture people, who kill their opponents, we are seeing them getting dragged through the streets of America. We're seeing babies torn away from their mothers and getting deported. We are seeing children, U.S. citizens, who are the children of these refugees or immigrants with cancer, being deported along with their parents. We are seeing the worst inhumanity I have ever seen on American soil since I have been fortunate enough to be in this country for 45 years. And at the same time that we're telling those people that there's no room for them and we're treating them worse than we would treat any wild animal, we are disappearing them into the worst hellhole in the Western Hemisphere in El Salvador without due process. So at the same time that we shut the door on all of those people fleeing legitimate political violence, we are opening the door to these white folk who are not the victims of a genocide, of a made-up genocide. And yes, look, I think part of it is because Elon Musk
I was curious about that.
has Trump's ear and is right next to him. And Elon Musk has tweeted about this a lot. And it's, and it's part of this right-wing narrative. It goes along with the entire anti-DEI, white people discrimination, all of this stuff that the right wing adheres to. But it is ignominious. It is scandalous. It is disgusting, and it is racist. Let us call it what it is. It is racist.
there's something else that we haven't had a chance to talk about on the show, which is kind of insane because this might be the most terrifying thing of everything here.
Before you even say it, it's got to be the habeas corpus.
That's exactly what it is. Yes, the Trump administration is actively looking at suspending habeas corpus, the right of a person to challenge their detention in court. This has been something that's happened in U.S. history 2 or 3 times, I think, and the most extreme circumstances ever, the Civil War. And what do you explain the impact of this for people that don't understand?
Well, habeas corpus basically is a Latin phrase that means we've got the body, right? Habeas corpus, the body. It basically means that the Trump administration could detain you, deport you without a right to an attorney, without due process, without a trial, without anything. They could basically detain you, disappear you, do whatever the hell they want with your corpus, your body, without having to worry at all about any constitutional rights, about having to worry about any process, about any legal rights. I mean, it is the most dictatorial, authoritarian, horrible thing. And it's, it comes in the midst of the plane and the white Afrikaners and Trump meeting in the Middle East with the new president of Syria, who is a former Al-Qaeda jihadist, okay? And calling him my new best friend. They sat over tea. They had tea. And Trump is lifting the sanctions on Syria. If Kamala Harris or Joe Biden had gone to the Middle East, accepted a $400 million plane from Qatar, and had tea and scones with a former Al-Qaeda jihadist who is now in charge, the president of Syria, Republicans would have burned down Congress. Well, they did that already, didn't they?
It does seem like it would have upset some people. All right, before we go, you mentioned it's been a tough couple of months. I think the hardest thing, though, was what happened in March when you were not able to see Shakira. I think that was what really set you down this path of spiraling. I hear that you were finally getting to see Shakira this weekend.
Shakira. I am.
Tell me about it.
I almost don't even want to talk about it for fear
you don't
of
want to jinx
jinxing it.
Yeah, last time you were waxing poetic about going, and then it all fell apart.
Okay, but let me tell you why I love Shakira. I love Shakira because she's one of these artists that has broken through, right? English and Spanish. You know who Shakira is.
Her hips don't lie.
Her hips don't lie. You didn't know. A lot of people didn't know who Karol G was.
Right.
Who's a huge artist, but also because Shakira. She had this love story and was married to Piqué, this famous Barcelona Spaniard football player, has these 2 children with him, and he cheated on her, and she was down in the dumps, right? This all played out very publicly. It was humiliating for her. It's been horrible. And that woman picked herself up from the ashes, picked herself up from her knees, and turned that pain and that humiliation into money, because she turned it into incredibly successful songs, right? Las mujeres no lloran, las mujeres facturan. Women don't cry anymore. Women make money. And so to me, she's almost 50 years old. Oh, damn, does she look good? She just embodies such female power and perseverance and resilience and sisterhood. And I love all her songs. I love her hair. I love everything about her. I love the way she dances. I love that she's taken the name of Colombia and Colombian music and rhythms all over the world. I love that she's selling out stadiums all over the world. So her U.S. tour just began this week in Charlotte, and her next 2 dates are today at MetLife in New Jersey and tomorrow at MetLife in New Jersey. And tomorrow, as if having Shakira wasn't enough, Mr. 305
Pitbull
worldwide is going to be the guest artist. So listen, if I have to crawl or walk there, because apparently there's like some New Jersey transit strike or something going on.
MetLife is a tough stadium to get to. Yeah.
I've never been there. Don't ruin it for me.
It's going to be great.
I am going to, if I have got to grab my my broom, my witch's broom, and fly into that stadium on a broom.
Sure.
That is what I plan to do this weekend. So yeah, I hope to get to see her. If something happens, I still got a chance to see her in Miami.
There you go. All right, so it's gonna happen. I feel good about it.
What's your favorite Shakira song?
My kids love Try Everything from that Disney movie Zootopia, and they've been playing that for 11 years. So I think that's one that sticks in my mind. But otherwise, hips don't lie. Yeah.
I love La Bicicleta, which she did with Carlos Vives, who was
on
the show.
Yeah, that's right.
If I get to see Shakira, I'm going to pitch her to come on the show.
Please pitch her to come on the show. She can come. She can co-host, whatever she wants to do. We could do the whole hour with her performing and talking. All right. Thank you for joining me today, Anna Navarro. As I've mentioned earlier in the week, we are celebrating 2 seasons of Behind the Table with a live taping. As I'm calling it, and nobody else is, it's the Behind the Table 2nd anniversary gala celebration. It's huge.
Are we showing up in like the Real Housewives reunions?
Well, we are being
like
sponsored.
Evening gowns?
We're sponsored by Blue Nile.
Will there be liquor?
It's unclear. Maybe we can get a Blue Nile flask, a bejeweled flask of some kind, and we could do that.
You know what the drink of the summer is?
What?
I tried it this
What is
weekend.
it?
Sauvignon Blanc with frozen jalapeno slices.
Oh,
Have you heard of this?
but I enjoy a jalapeno slice in my drink. Yeah.
I don't.
I like a spicy margarita. I like everything.
Yeah, jalapenos are good with margaritas. I think it's a perfectly ridiculous way of ruining very good wine.
All right,
No.
It beats last year's drink.
But I
which
want
is
you to try
Aperol
it.
Spritzes everywhere.
I want you to try it. You got to slice the jalapeno
Okay.
thin.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, these brutes are even leaving the seeds in. And then you freeze them, like you put them inside a Ziploc bag and you freeze them, and then you plop them into your glass in your Sauvignon Blanc. But you have to find like a Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand or one of these places where there's like pepper notes, where there's, not fruity, flowery ones, but peppery, minerally ones.
I like a spicy drink. Mayahul. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's Mexican, I think, and it's a I don't know how to explain it, but it gets served on fire, and it's extraordinarily spicy and terrific. Mezcal and some other stuff.
Do you blow it out?
Yeah, you blow it out. It goes quick. It goes and then out.
I don't. Why would you set fire to alcohol? That evaporates the alcohol. What a stupid thing to do.
It looks cool. All right. Anyway, we got off topic. The 2nd anniversary.
Oh, the 2nd anniversary. It's all
Gala
about
celebration of the Behind the Table podcast, sponsored by Blue Nile.
Can we get
It's on June 3rd.
Can we get a bedazzled bed for Chacha?
I think everything's in the conversation. I think we'll talk to Blue Nile and see what they can do. But
Chacha, what do you want to be there?
Yeah, we need Cha-Cha. So we're almost entirely booked. We announced this thing, and then we have a huge wait list for this appearance. However, it's important to me that the Behind the Table listeners get an opportunity to be there.
Oh my God, you are bribing the Bri guys.
I'm not bribing anybody. I'm not saying they're
Yes,
getting
you
anything.
are.
I'm just saying that
This is all about getting Bri guys there so you can be legitimized as a podcast
because
host.
of their loyalty
And
to
then
me.
Joy wants the Joy Boys.
Because of their loyalty to me. And
I
to
want the
pod-
Anna Bananas.
Let's go back to this. It's very important. If you are a Behind the Table listener and you want to come see us on June 3rd, in the description for the podcast, there's a special link just for you. There you go.
Are we done with your plugging something?
I'm plugging something. What am I, Joy? And go to myfirstexhusband.com, please. See you next week. Thank you.
Behind the Table is executive produced by Brian Teta. Supervising producers are Summer Shape and Nathan Getty, with production assistant Emily Darcy and editor Brian Davis. Special thanks to Laurie Hogan, Molly Kaiser, and Katerina Alexopoulos. Producers for ABC Audio are Trevor Hastings, Camille Peterson, and Amira Williams, with supervising producer Susie Liu, executive producer of podcast programming Laura Mayer, and vice president Liz Alessi.